Okay.
All right. Good morning, everyone. And I'm here with Raymond Klein, Executive Vice President for Digital Industries at Siemens ASEAN. Raymond, thank you very much for joining us today. So we would like
Welcome
to
for
know,
inviting me.
we would like to know the efforts of Siemens ASEAN as regards the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. So my first question is, how is the company coping and responding to the current pandemic, COVID-19 pandemic?
Actually, what we implemented, there are several layers. The first layer is to enhance our workforce, to increase health and safety for them. By example, that we do service remotely with augmented reality helmets, which we send to the customer. And then we advise the customer from a distance how they repair or do commissioning of the whole unit. And in the background, in a control center, then our engineers are sitting. This is also a quiet exercise for us because with certain customers, it's the first time. By example, for gas chromatographs, if we do that, by example, from here in Indonesia. Yeah. The second one is a little bit the operational resilience. And call it revenue continuity. Here, what we implemented, luckily 5 years ago, is a transformation of our operation into digital services. And with these digital services, actually, we're implementing solutions with Industry 4.0 technologies, driving the productivity of our customers to a new scale. And this demand is increasing independent to the COVID-19 impact, what we see in the market.
Right.
The next one is that supplier initiative, that we see no bottlenecks of our supplies related to our own product and system deliveries. And a natural development of COVID-19 operational cost reduction, because the travel costs automatically are reduced. And another topic is where we heavily working on in our own office is, as we call it, improved workspace experience.
Right.
So that we ensure for our employees and also later for our customers that we adapt the individual space to the situation. We have sensors and tags that we so-called enhance the workspace experience. So we see where our employees walking around with whom we might get in contact. Yeah. So we can later on identify people exposed to infected ones. And we also can identify assets, areas to be isolated and disinfected.
Right.
Last but not least, when you have the thermal cameras at the entrance, we're working to combine them with the tags of our employees and voice recognition. That this then can be done, let's say, automatically. And then with the tag together and the data together, we can see with whom they came in contact and so on.
Right. So it's like applying technologies to make sure that employees are really safe. They have a safe working environment, and the safety and health of their employees are top notch. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you for
we
that.
went away from these hot seats that each employee has their own desk, and in between always is one desk empty, and the employees can feel free to work from home.
Right, I see. Okay, great. Thank you very much for that, Raymond. My second question would be, what initiatives have you prepared when this situation recovers?
Actually, the initiatives are not prepared when the situation recovers. The measures are prepared also if the situation not recovers.
I see.
And there are several. Actually, I need to cluster it a little bit. Number one, into call it classic portfolio, automation and drives, where we are quite strong in the market. Here we use very much e-business as a channel, credit card payment, and sales booster packages, which based on our domain expertise, we slice or design on domain demands.
Right.
Number two, we see an increasing demand of of Industry 4.0 technologies, as they are quite new in the market. And our customers further, even if their production side plants are not fully loaded, they need to drive the productivity, because it is very difficult, even during COVID, to increase the prices now.
Right. Mm-hmm. Right.
So customizing those technologies, here we set up since 5 years ago a DigiHub in Singapore, but also rolled it out to the different countries in ASEAN. And here we have 3 components, actually 4. We have the Smart Industry Readiness Index, which is developed by Singapore government to baseline current operation and define in which direction our customers can go as a next step, as the most closest step to their current operation to improve productivity. Then we have so-called digital architectures for discrete industry, being it semiconductor, automotive, or even for process industry, pharmaceutical, chemical. And they take then the theory baselining and going into a solution design Industry 4.0. And then we have a lot of young people, and they work in so-called digital core modules. These digital core modules are, by example, computer vision, is data analytics, it's remote services with augmented reality, it's digital twin simulation of the current production layout. And these digital core modules we assemble in customized vertical solutions. The one example, Aquaculture 4.0, fish farm, where we measure the swimming behavior of the fish. And based on that, we calculate with cameras the biomass and under which condition is the fish in the fish farm growing best. And here we also measure from the swimming behavior, when is the fish hungry, when not, because he's changing his behavior. It's barramundi at the moment, so it's tropical fish. There are 3 categories, but we focus at the moment on tropical fish, and also disease breakout. When do we put, by example, antibiotics in? And then we encrypt the whole thing into blockchain, that the consumer have, let's say, a tracking device from the seed to the fish fillet in the supermarket. I see. Another initiative, which is quite interesting because of COVID-19, social distancing at workplaces is also required as social distancing in factories. But if you take social distancing in factories, which means less workers because you need to keep the distance, then normally the productivity is going down. And here what we have these specialists create digital twins to simulate, if we take the social distancing, how much is the productivity going down? And then we take measures in the digital twin where we mirror the current operation in the computer. Where do we put automated elements in, and what is their specification to keep at the moment current productivity level compared to when the social distancing was not implemented.
Okay,
so
great.
That's to your question.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much for that, Raymond. Now, my next question is, when and how do you foresee the recovery post COVID-19? How do you think the new normal would look like?
Yeah, the new normal will come when the vaccine is available. Before that, I can see that travels will be limited, visits will be limited, and actually, I would say the market will be divided in two approaches for industry. The first approach will be the so-called classic portfolios where we and our competitors are in. And the second approach, where we see independent to COVID-19 and increasing demand, is the so-called digital services. And these digital services we describe with these core modules by example, overall equipment efficiency, or if you take an ore mine, the layout of an ore mine, and we simulate it, and then we change how a mine is driven with a digital twin, and implement then the functions employees of the ore mine are implementing those topics. And then we measure with the IoT performance twin, this is also new, if really those in the virtual twin designed productivity improvements are implemented. So this is this closed loop what we have.
True. All right. Raymond, do you expect pent-up demand after the recovery?
I would categorize the demands a little bit, because the demands are based on market requirements. So what we for sure will see an increase in our automation portfolio to the level we have seen before after COVID. And we see a transformed demand towards digital services. So the customized adoption, what I mentioned already, towards the industry 4.0 technologies to drive productivity to a new scale. And tandem solutions.
Right.
What I talk with tandem solutions is that on the one hand, what I mentioned with, by example, on the mining experience, that you create a digital twin of the mine as it operates at the moment. Then you change how the mine is operating and simulate the productivity you could increase. And then number two, that's the reason tandem. Number one, the digital twin. Number two, the IoT performance twin, to measure that the virtual productivity which you did in the digital twin gets implemented. And if not, that you have a clear root cause analysis, why not?
Right.
And new solutions, the social distancing, or let's call it shopping experience, because if you need to measure, let's say, your temperature with the cameras at the beginning, and you have a tag together, you can also, what we're doing in our offices, doing in shopping centers, by example.
All right. So finally, Raymond, how do you expect sales to fare this year compared to last year? I know you don't have, well, if you have a crystal ball, right? So whether you think would we be up or down or flat, or, you know, from...
Okay. What we luckily did 5 years ago, we transformed our own operation into these so-called digital services. So what we see overall, we calculated a GDP decline weighted on the GDP size of the major ASEAN countries by roughly 4 to 5.8%. So which means the classic portfolio at the moment is impacted, but the digital service is increasing.
Right, I see. Okay.
So we don't see really, we see a negative impact in certain portfolio elements, but in other portfolio elements, we really see that luckily we transformed our operation. And here we see increase of 5%, also during Corona.
Right.
And after it, we see that it might turn in a double-digit growth.
Okay, that sounds good and sounds very, very optimistic. All right, great.
Yes, also good for our employees. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Thank you very much for your time, Raymond. Do you have any final comments?
Actually, the only final comment I have is stay safe, stay secure, and take care.
Exactly. That's a great comment. Thank you very much, Raymond. Yeah, thank you very much for your time.
See you.